Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving our praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the elders and to the apostles of Millstone, and enough respect to the brothers that they're pushing and spreading the gospel of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, to the four corners of the world. Now, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, this is the book of Malachi, chapter 3, and because the fourth chapter is also short, I'm going to do chapter 4 also, and Lord willing, this be edifying. So Malachi 3, beginning with verse 1, it says, Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the messenger is John the Baptist, right? And he shall prepare the way before me, who's Yahushai, and the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant whom ye delight in, right? The messenger of the covenant, meaning, that transitioning into a new kind of relationship between us and the Lord where we don't go off. That is through Yahushai. Now it says, whom ye delight in. And that's because the scriptures is filled with, the prophets, specifically, asking the Lord. Matter of fact, I love this Psalms, the 80th chapter, one of my favorite chapters. But it's a psalm of Asaph, and the chapter really deals with the restoration of Israel, right? Turn us again, O God, and cause thy face to shine. Because of iniquity, the Lord had been angry with Jake, and the destiny of Jake at that point was to go into captivity, captivity. But there was there's this prospect to restoration, and that was only going to be 3 hours shy. So check this out. Psalms 80, verse 14, it says, Return, we beseech thee, O God of hosts, and look down from heaven, and behold, and visit this vine. The vine represents Israel, and the vineyard which thy right hand hath planted, and the branch that thou madest strong for thyself. It is burnt with fire, it is cut down, they perish at the rebuke of thy countenance. So now let thine hand be upon the man of thy right hand, upon the Son of Man, whom thou madest strong for thyself. Okay, so the restoration depends on the Lord giving order to the man at his right hand, who's Yahushai, the Son of Man. Alright? So the book of Malachi, it says, whom ye delight in. And I even went into the book of Daniel, the 9th chapter, 24th through 27, and it was all about, the events leading up to Yahushai. The most important, time that has been one of the most important time frames that the Lord gave to Israel. Yeah, really, it is the most important time frame the Lord gave to Israel. Was the 70 weeks. I mean, in my eyes, it's one of the most important time frames. So from that 70 weeks, it is determined upon Jake that transgression be finished. Now, how does that happen? Well, Yahushua has to come on the scene. Messiah, the Prince, he has to be revealed, and he has to die, be cut off, but not for himself. Why? Because for our sakes. And then so on and so forth, right? The temple gets destroyed, and then Yahushua, before he went up into the chariot, well, what did the angel say? He said, we shall see him come back in the same manner that he left, which is by the clouds. And that's when the world will see the subjection, right? That's when the world will see how the Most High has made everything, in subjection under him. So Malachi 3:2, but who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like a full of soap. In other words, Yahushai is he's a purifier, and he comes to purify our nation, right? That's the messenger. That's that new covenant. He is the carrier for that, right? That's what the messenger means. Someone who carries a message. Well, Yahushua carries that, access to that new covenant, a covenant where we are purified and made perfect. Verse 3 is, and he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. And he shall purify the sons of Levi. We read in the previous chapters how the Lord had a problem with the way the temple was being managed, right? It was so bad that the Lord didn't want anything, with the sacrifices anymore. So Yahushua has to come in and purify and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Lord Yahweh an offering in righteousness. Verse 4, then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord Yahweh, as in the days of old, and as in former years. And I will come near to you in judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorceress, and against the adulteress, and against the false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right hand, and fear not me, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. So, the iniquity, the righteousness which we could not do on our own, well, Yahweh is going to have to forcefully, and he's going to have to put that, establish that forcefully. Verse 6, for I am the Lord Yahweh, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed, right? Because it's the only way that we are not consumed. If Yahushua doesn't purify and eradicate wickedness, then that means Jake is meant to die, go into captivity, and that is not what he promised unto our forefather Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's the only reason, because he changes not. Even from the days of your father ye are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. But ye said, wherein shall we return? Verse 8, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and in offering. Ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, and there shall not be room enough to receive it. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruit of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit upon, before the time in the field, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. And, this is pretty much a promise that if we, stay faithful to the covenant that we are currently in, that the Lord he will definitely come through and bless us. It says, and all nations shall call you blessed, for ye shall be a delightsome land, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Your words have been stout against me, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, what have we spoken? What have we spoken so much against thee? Ye have said, it is vain to serve the Lord. And what profit is it that we should keep his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before the Lord Yahweh of hosts? And unfortunately, there are some people who, we just can't convince with our words. We try We go out in the highways and the byways, we do videos, and we call out to the nation of Israel to repent, but unfortunately, they don't have any interest in repenting. And so when they ask questions like this, okay, well, I guess, the prophet is salvation, but the evil days have not come yet. So we can't really explain to you, or we can't really prove to you or show you the prophet. But if you insist on being stubborn, well, wait till the indignation of the Lord be made manifest, and then you're going to see the prophet, and that's why the scripture says the Lord shall laugh, because there really are foolish people in the world like this who tempt the Lord, who challenge the Lord. And now we call the proud happy, yea, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt God are even delivered, right? They look at the nations, primarily Esau, right? Esau is the proudest, spirit upon the earth, and they are prospering. So you have Jake looking at Esau, and they want to be like Esau. The book of Solomon, the book of Ecclesiastes tells us that in life, everything that a man has, it's not because he is, strong or smart or swift. It's time and chance that happens to us all. And that time and chance is what's from the Lord. The Lord chooses. But these men out here don't like to reference the Lord, because the wicked doesn't reference the Lord. So when Esau comes up and talks about how, you got to pick yourself up from life and, be a man and, do this, then take risk and get this and do all that, get the LOC and Jake, yeah, you're right. It doesn't occur to them that it is the Lord that left man up. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing these things, but don't do it thinking that, the people are doing these things thinking that it is foolish for a man to rely on the Lord. And that's the drive, the motivation for anyone out there who really is trying to, be part of the elite, who's trying to have an opulent lifestyle in this world. It's really because he doesn't believe in the Lord. A man who truly believes in the Lord would be sufficient with what the Lord gives him, his daily necessities, so that he can free himself from the temptations of this world and focus on the Lord. But people out there, they just want more from this world. They want to live in pleasure because they have no faith. They cannot imagine or picture what the Lord has in store for them, right? All they care about is the world around them, what they see, and that instant gratification and benefit, and that's what they want. So, verse 16, then they that fear the Lord Yahweh spake often once to another, and the Lord hearkened. And there are a lot, like I said, a lot of people in the world, and there are very few righteous men in the world, very, very few. But their voice are like the loudest in the ears of the Lord. It says, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord Yahweh, and that thought upon his name, Yahweh. You think upon the Lord when you genuinely want to serve the Lord, when your heart is upon the Lord, when your mind is constantly on the Lord, when you're constantly meditating what you've learned from the scriptures, meditating on the judgment of the Lord, examining yourself. How do I look in the eyes of the Lord? These things, how can I better bear the burdens of the Lord? It's just there are so few people, like even the my elder was telling me that he was with one of the brothers, and the comment was made. He was like, man, he's looking around, and he said it's crazy how of all the people in here, of all the hundreds of people out there, it's crazy that it's probably only 2 people that are thinking upon the name of the Lord, and they were in public. It's like a lot of them, and really think about that. When you go outside and you drive in, and or you go to the mall or something, you go to a crowded area, and imagine how many people are really thinking upon the Lord. And they shall be mine, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them, as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. Right? So chapter 4, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly, shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall, and ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be as ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. That is that purification method. Remember ye now the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord Yahweh. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. And again, Elijah is the same one that we read in the book of Malachi, the 3rd chapter, as the messenger who prepares the way before the Lord. So this is the book of Malachi. I hope this is edifying. Shalom, Yahweh, Shem Yashar, Brakatham, Toya, Akims, and Akwos that are listening in truth and sincerity. May the blessing of Lord be upon the house. May we be written in the book of remembrance, so that when them ICBM comes, when the thermonuclear missiles, World War III, Jacob's trouble, when that great and terrible day comes, we are delivered out of it, right? So, in closing, we want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Racha Kodash Shalom.